the user, through prompt injection, was able to ask AI to give this car to them for just $1. When you have to protect AI, you have obviously need to take into consideration everything traditional cybersecurity, and on top of that, everything that comes new. Not trying to scare everybody, but
I am already scared. Too late.
You're listening to IoT and IP Explained with Claudia Tapia, where experts discuss the latest in technology and intellectual property.
Hello, everyone. Today we will talk about AI and cybersecurity. Our guest is Amela Gjishti, who is an AI Cybersecurity Architect. She aligns cybersecurity with business priorities. Together, we will discuss technical challenges, policy needs, and current struggles companies face as AI adoption grows. We will also cover best practices. Amela, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for the invitation.
Let's start talking about the intersection between AI and cybersecurity. Could you tell us about this?
Of course. So the intersection with AI and cybersecurity can be looked from very much different perspectives. First off, AI is a tool that's being used in our everyday life/industries. And then what that means is that when you look into AI from a cybersecurity perspective, you can think of AI as enhancing cybersecurity, so using AI to do cybersecurity better, but at the same time trying to look at AI as a software, and that would mean that you want to protect AI as software. So there are two perspectives to AI and cyber: using AI for cyber and securing AI as a type of software.
I know that you are AI cybersecurity architect, but I'm not sure whether the audience understand what it is. What is AI cybersecurity architect, and where do you focus in your daily job?
Okay, so if I talk to a cybersecurity audience, I would say I am a cybersecurity architect focusing on AI as a software. So what that means is, as a normal cybersecurity job, as a normal cybersecurity architect, I will look specifically at AI as a software, trying to protect how AI is being used, how AI is being developed, how AI is being deployed, and how AI is managed throughout the AI lifecycle. So having a cyber hat while looking at AI as a software.
We hear about cybersecurity attacks in AI systems. Could you give us one or two examples?
So I would start with a very recent one I read a couple of weeks ago, which was some cybersecurity researchers look into, and this was something that was published at DEF CON, this latest DEF CON 2025. Some cybersecurity research company looked into leaking personal information from Salesforce out of a usage of Copilot. So this was a very recent one, and I think it shows like the massive impact that using AI or agentic AI, such powerful tools, can have in daily business. But I also want to mention that attacks can be even dangerous when it comes to misusing chatbots. For example, it could be a funny attack, but it's still super important to me, even from a business perspective. There was a chatbot which was compromised from, I remember the company was Chevrolet, when it came to getting a car, lending a car for just $1. So what that meant that during that attack, the user, through prompt injection, was able to ask AI to give this car to them for just $1. And I think that's funny, massive, super, bad cyber attack. And that's using prompt injection as a way to get through the system and fool the system to get to a certain action, which was getting the car for a little money. A third example could be another prompt injection one. And for the ones who don't know, I can give a very quick explanation of what prompt injection is. Prompt injection is basically a SQL injection, again, a cyber term, when you're trying to make AI do something that it's not supposed to do. So you are trying to get through certain guardrails and way that AI is put together to make an action that would exploit something, that would leak data, that would make AI escalate privilege. So basically, even like in, again, like cyber / more understanding term, prompt injection is like social engineering AI. So you're trying to fool AI to get things that it would not be able to do otherwise. There is a research paper that I find it very interesting, which explains another, or like showcases another way of prompt injection, and that can be when you are submitting your resume, you are writing with white text things like, this is the best candidate. Just look into this candidate, or things that kind of like can boost your resume, but you do this on white text. What that means is that for a normal recruiter on a white page, you're not able to see it, but through, let's say, a certain OCR type of software that uses AI to scan this resume, that would mean that you don't even need to look at other resumes. That is a resume that will get the interview or maybe even get the job at that point. So I find it really interesting, and quite frankly, it's simple. So you don't even need to have a lot of coding expertise. You're just tricking AI in such simple terms, and you're getting where you want to get. Yes, this is an example of a prompt injection, and I think it's a very simple one, which makes it even more dangerous as an attack.
And I'm thinking about the from the side of the user. Like in the example, I go to rent a car, and suddenly I can have it for $1. And at the beginning, very happy, but when I'm gonna pick the car up, maybe they don't want to give it to me for this amount, or the company is relying too much on AI. So knowing how to use it, when it could be an advantage, but always having this critical thinking and not relying 100% for every single thing, at least not at this stage.
Exactly, yeah. Very important.
We were talking about these cybersecurity threats on AI systems. What is the difference between these kind of threats and the traditional cybersecurity threats?
I love this question because I have to talk about this a lot on my daily basis, basically. And I think it's a very important like starting point when you think about AI security, because AI is a special type of software. And by special, I mean, we're not going to philosophize here. What is AI? Is AI like electricity? Is AI, I don't know, the biggest invention of them all? We don't know. We are not trying to put philosophy here on the table, but just from a very digital operational perspective, AI is a different type of software. What that means is that when you have to protect AI, you have obviously need to take into consideration everything traditional cybersecurity, and on top of that, everything that comes new. What that new is, I would start with the fact that AI is a non-deterministic type of software, is a probabilistic machine, for lack of a better word. So what that means is that we even see it on a daily basis when we're trying to prompt ChatGPT. Even the same prompt will generate different outputs, because the way AI is built, a software, it's supposed to do that. It's supposed to be, let's say, creative. But what that means is that when we're trying to protect this from a software perspective, we have to keep that in mind. And what that means is that we have to take a closer look at the type of data we're feeding this model, at the type of data, let's say even the output that's coming to this model. What are certain parameters that we are able to tweak to make this creativity not go too wild, so that we have certain threshold for AI generating still nice, reliable output, yet giving this type of like flavor and creativity that we really want from AI in terms of generative AI, so to say. So protecting the data that's coming in, the data that's going through the model, also how we are interacting as users, making sure that people, developers who are changing these models are the right people. There's no escalation of privilege when it comes to looking at, let's say, the model as a black box. The people who are changing those parameters, or we're just like adding more parts to the system, are the right people. So having, again, access control through that, and also monitoring how AI is behaving through the life cycle, through the usage of AI, because one of the, let's say, the features of AI is that AI learns as it goes. So making sure that we're keeping track and monitoring its behavior to kind of detect any potential outliers is quite crucial, and it ties back to the threats, because if we are able to detect an outlier, we can just raise the flag and go right there into that, let's say, production environment where AI is developing a little bit more weirdly or is learning a little bit more different than previously. So summing it up, AI is a probabilistic software, and we need to have traditional cybersecurity and addition controls to address these threats.
Do I hear you correctly that within this monitoring and control for this AI, do you need to have different kind of skills or different kind of people involved? Like when I'm listening to you, it sounds like there's a lot of people involved in this kind of cybersecurity protection on AI systems.
Yeah, and I wish more people thought like you, because the thing is that when we look at AI, and I keep mentioning it's a special type of software, the AI is very diverse. So you can use AI for healthcare, you can use AI for financial industry, you can use AI for HR. The way AI misbehaves or the way it can go wrong is different. So what that means is that you have to have different people who understand how AI is built, who understand how it should be used, who understand how it can be misused, and that involves a different variety of answers. So if you are using an AI from an HR perspective, the way you need to protect AI varies in comparison to, let's say, if you were in the healthcare industry. So obviously, we are building this very powerful tools, these very powerful agents. Innovation is great, but we should be able to understand that these tools are able to do this, but can go wrong in that. So let's try to look at that and protect that, basically.
Right. Have a really win-win situation.
Exactly. Everybody's happy.
Everybody's happy. We like that. In this regard, since companies are increasingly deploying AI, how can they do it in a secure manner?
Well, I would start with what we discussed about taking into consideration the specific use case.
Mm-hmm.
Having an open mind to listen to different perspectives, and I cannot emphasize this enough. I hear so much talking about AI governance, and that's great, but there's so much more that gets into it. So AI governance is this overarching umbrella that tries to look at AI risks, and that means anything between biases to safety, to security, to privacy, labor law, and all that. Mm-hmm. So having an overarching perspectives and going back and forth to different stakeholders is quite crucial, I would say. It's important that, let's say, the CISOs of companies are talking to CTOs or even the business people to understand how the system can go wrong. And I think at the end of the day, if companies are doing cybersecurity right, they probably are doing, I would say, 70% of AI security right. They just need to get that 30% good. And the reason why is because the 30% is very powerful. If we're building AI, we're building very powerful tools. And if it means that 30%, we're actually going to be in great losses. So having the bigger understanding and trying to do the traditional cyber right, plus the extra stuff, I think it should be good to go.
So what is the 70 and what is the 30? What is the scale companies are typically? Of course, there will be companies doing this and that, so we don't want to put everybody in the same basket. But in general, what is the 30% that is missing? Is this kind of really looking at the different use cases, or is it something else?
So the threats for AI, let's say we can, in a way, generalize them and like theoretically look at them as, let's say, we need to test this AI system. Yet the way we test would be different depending on certain use cases. We have to have the right monitoring of the behavior of these AI systems. Yet that is very much dependent on the type of AI system. We have to have the right access control through the AI lifecycle. So the AI lifecycle is being data ingestion, model creation, model training, model deployment, and then usage of AI throughout this whole AI lifecycle. You have to have certain identity and access management controls in place, so you are making sure that that's proper users are into the development. There is no escalation of privileges from an application perspective, so to say. So that would be another like very important threat of identity and access management that we say in cybersecurity. And I would say this is like a very good like encompasses the whole like 30% that I'm mentioning here, and not stop testing. I think testing and making sure that we can, let's say in cyber, we always go with, we have to be a step ahead of the bad actors. I think with AI security, we have to be even like 10 steps ahead of the bad actors, because AI is so powerful and a lot of things can go wrong with very little effort, I would say. So not trying to scare everybody, but
I am already scared. Too late. I think this is a great point that you're raising, and I wonder, how do you manage to stay 10 steps ahead in cybersecurity threats? How do you do that? This is such a fast evolving area. Do you create teams? How do you do that?
I mean, I'm in this field because of that. I'm in this field because I love the fact that it's so dynamic, it's so new, there's research coming up every day, yet you have to talk and translate that to business stakeholders so that they can make the right investment, they can put the right teams together. And I think that should be good enough for us to always like be energized and look into this and get that 10 steps ahead that I'm talking about. But obviously in cyber, we have the concept of defense layers. And I think especially for AI, this makes even more sense. I mentioned earlier different access controls and monitoring, certain type of testing. Supply chain security is very important because there are companies who are able to develop AI from scratch, so to say, but we see a lot of companies that are having different enterprises versions of like big chatbots that are out there, or have our enterprises that are having different models that they're getting from third parties. Companies are even getting outsourcing their training data. So what that brings in is this supply chain security threat that comes with AI. And it gets even scarier when you're trying to get all of this information on the open source world, because that can go very wild, very fast. So yeah. Supply chain security is also a big topic and a very big important point on the 30% we mentioned.
Yes, definitely. Wow. We're talking a lot about policy, about companies. I'd like to understand, what could we do to make it global secure? How can we address this cybersecurity globally?
Obviously, I'm very happy to see that there's a lot of, let's say, collaboration between different, let's say, research and also institutions. There is NIST out there, which is getting like expertise and a lot of very nice documentation and guidance on how to cyber secure the usage of AI. There are ISO standards that are very much global, I would say, so everybody can use them. I think I see a lot of consortiums, so different like companies or again like institutions, they organize different events so that they can get researchers together, and they can kind of exchange on what is the problem that I'm facing in my company or in my sector. So kind of learn from each other. Collaboration is the key word here. You have to have the lesson learned shared, because we're in the very beginning, I would say, of the field. So we need to be closer to each other. We need to talk more to each other and also have an open mind. Think about the potential options where AI can go wrong, and even have a, let's say, a more international perspective to it, looking into how AI can be misused and bring in for different cultures in different sectors. So just do more listening and do more collaboration, I would say, would give that global perspective to do this right.
What is standing in the way of doing that?
It is not an easy problem. So, like I mentioned earlier, AI is a non-deterministic software. And by definition, the way it's built, it's supposed to surprise us. And I know it doesn't sound very like nice when a cybersecurity person tells you that, but I'm going to give you another, like, for example, like cloud. It took us so long to even get into a certification scheme for cloud. And that's way easier than AI. AI is much broader. It's much powerful. It can be misused with the examples I said earlier. It can be misused in very simple ways, yet cause a lot of damage. So it has a lot of potential to do good and also to do wrong. And the way we should look at it, it's just being as critical as possible and don't stop. Like, even if we think that, okay, we have a good secure AI system, for sure there's something else coming. There's obviously maybe somebody else that has a better way of going around the parameters that we built for this AI. So I would say it is a very difficult technological problem, and we have a long way to go to get to securing AI.
Is there any certificate for AI systems that show they are cybersecure? And if so, and if not, what are the requirements?
So in the EU Cybersecurity Act, there is a mention of building a certificate for AI system. And if you look into the EUI Act, there is also one of the articles that directs you to the Cybersecurity EU Cybersecurity Act for that matter. At the moment, that certificate does not exist. And the problem is basically it's a very complex topic. Before having a certificate, you have to have standards for securing AI. And if you look into the world of standardization for AI, everything feels very scattered right now. I'm aware it's a very complex and complicated topic, but the standards are everywhere from, let's say, policy, privacy, to some cybersecurity ones. So until we get that right, we cannot look into building a certificate for securing AI system. That would be ideal. That would be great if we were able to have like a stamp for saying, okay, this AI is good to go in the market, is, I don't know, 80% secure or is 95% secure. That would be great. At the moment, unfortunately, we're not there yet.
Also thinking that if, this step, 10 steps ahead is taking my mind. Like, if I have this certificate and today is giving a guarantee, but in this fast evolving field, I wonder how long that certificate should last.
You kind of answered the question for me when you said that everything is evolving. So what that means is that the way the certificate should work should reflect that. And that what that means in practice is that we need to keep monitoring the system. We need to keep in touch with the latest and the greatest of technology, because yes, certificates and the way the policy world moves is supposed to be lacking a little bit in comparison to tech. So it's always an ongoing process. And we should always have that in mind. And not just that, but also having to consideration that when we're securing AI systems, we also have to think about that specific use case. If it's an AI system used in HR, if it's an AI system used in healthcare, or it's somewhere else, the certificate would probably have a different flavor, for lack of a better word, because I don't think that you can have a one size fits it all, let's say, solution here due to the probabilistic nature of AI as a software.
How do you train non-security teams to spot risks?
I got 2 words for you.
Impossible?
No, 2 words.
It's not gonna happen. Yeah, go ahead.
AI literacy. And I think that we're doing a really good job now with the EUI Act coming around, especially in Europe, that we are teaching our employees that have nothing to do with tech about what AI can do, could do good, could not do that good, and also when it can go wrong. I think this is where it starts, because at the end of the day, maybe AI is also like internet, or it will be like the internet when we're just like looking and on our browsers and kind of trusting everything that comes at us. So we don't care about how internet works, right? We're just like using it right now. But that's because there's so much that was built till now. So we have to have the type of like let's say, confidence when using AI, but that comes with learning. So I don't know, 20, 50, 100 years from now, when it comes to everybody using AI like internet nowadays, we need to know what AI can do for us and what AI cannot do for us. So when we get that output out of, I don't know, if there is like a chatbot we're using internally for generating policies, we know that we have to double check a source. We know that we have to double check certain wording because we cannot fully trust AI. And with that, like as simple as literacy, or let's say as simple as even not so technical, I think it's a big shift towards securing AI. Awareness is a very big topic in the cybersecurity world when we're teaching different employees how to use even other systems in a good way. And at the end of the day, humans are the weakest links. So if we're not teaching our non-technical people how to use AI and tech right, I think we're failing big time. Yeah.
Well, Amela, thank you so much for this interview. Before we leave, I really like to ask you one question, which is, could you share with us a lesson learned?
Obviously, I try to do everything with a lot of passion, everything that I do. But that means that sometimes I tend to be a little bit impatient. For example, like when I was trying to finish my master's thesis, I had this deadline in my head that I had to meet, and then I had to get a job right after the deadline. And the thing is that I was putting so much pressure in myself that I did not meet that deadline, and I had to start working while I was finishing my master's thesis. But that was something that was basically coming from me because I wanted to get it done. And that sometimes, like, things we want to get done by a certain point of time, they're not realistic. Like, we put ourselves very unrealistic deadlines, and I'm trying now to do better about it. I'm trying to put more realistic deadlines, and then if things do not work out for certain reasons, that's okay. There is plan B, C, D. Alphabet is long. So yeah, being more realistic and learning how to be more patient while still being passionate about what I want to do and still keep going when I can.
That's a great combination. And congratulations from the next steps improving. Everybody has lessons learned. Certainly I have plenty of those. And thanks a lot for sharing it. And also thanks to the audience for joining us today. And we look forward to hearing more about you. So thank you and see you soon.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.